Welcome to Crafted Nest, a place where every corner of your garden can be transformed into a work of warmth and beauty. Here, we believe that creating something extraordinary doesn't always require a big budget, just simple touches, everyday items, and a little imagination. Even the smallest garden can become a peaceful sanctuary. Picture yourself walking through your yard, the bright sunshine on your skin, the gentle sound of dripping water, and vibrant flowers blooming from planters you crafted with your own hands. All of this is possible, step by step, together with us. Before we dive into today's inspiration, don't forget to subscribe to Crafted Nest so you won't miss out on more DIY ideas that you can easily try at home. Let's grow beauty with our own hands. There is something magical about giving a second life to everyday objects. Imagine stepping into your garden and discovering not store-bought planters, but boots that once carried you through the rain, crates that once held fruit, or colorful cans that used to rattle in your kitchen. Each one now blooms with new purpose, carrying herbs, flowers, or even tiny succulents. This is the heart of creative planters made from recycled materials, where nostalgia meets fresh greenery. When you transform something old into a planter, you are not just saving money, you are telling a story. The wooden crate becomes a rustic companion to marigolds, each bloom whispering warmth into the corners of your space. Tin cans, painted in joyful colors, suddenly carry scents of mint and basil, inviting you to brush your fingers across the leaves and breathe in freshness. Even a forgotten pair of boots can cradle ivy, its vines gently cascading as if to remind us that beauty often grows in the most unexpected places. The joy of this approach lies not in perfection, but in character. The scratches on the crate, the dents on the can, the scuffed leather of the boots. All of these become part of the design. They make your garden personal, alive, and unique. And the best part? These creations are simple, achievable, and welcoming. If you ever doubt your ability to transform your garden, start with one object you already own. Plant something inside it. Place it where the sun can find it. Then step back and watch how your garden slowly begins to smile back at you. There is a calmness in the sound of flowing water, a quiet reminder that nature has its own rhythm. In a garden, even the smallest trickle can soften the air, making the space feel like a retreat far from the noise of the world. The beauty of mini water features is that they don't require grandeur. Even a humble bowl or an old pot can hold an entire universe of serenity. Picture this, a ceramic bowl filled with clear water, where lotus petals float gracefully, catching every ray of light as the breeze stirs gentle ripples. Or imagine a clay pot, once forgotten, now reborn as a vessel that pours life into a shallow stone basin, surrounded by moss that thrives in the dampness. Each detail tells a story of transformation, where ordinary objects become vessels of peace. The trick lies not in perfection, but in intention. Adding a handful of pebbles to the base, letting water catch the sun, and positioning the feature near plants that love moisture. These small touches make the space come alive. Even the sound, soft and unassuming, becomes a companion as you sip tea, read a book, or simply pause to breathe. The best part is accessibility. These ideas are inexpensive, crafted from what you already have. A terracotta pot stacked with care, water gently flowing from one to another, can become the centerpiece of your garden corner. It is a way of inviting stillness, a daily reminder that beauty doesn't always need to be bought. It can be created with your own hands. In the end, a mini water feature is not just about decoration. It is about creating a pause in your day, a gentle whisper of nature that keeps your garden alive with calm energy. Furniture has always been the heartbeat of a garden, the place where moments linger, where laughter and silence find their home. Yet, the thought of buying outdoor furniture often brings the weight of cost. But what if comfort and beauty could be created from what you already have? That is the gift of budget outdoor furniture DIY projects. Imagine sitting on a bench crafted from pallets, its wooden surface smoothed by your own hands, painted in a color that feels like you. A few cushions tossed casually across it, sunlight dappling through branches above, and suddenly your garden corner becomes an intimate retreat. There is no need for extravagance, only a willingness to see possibilities in the simplest materials. A set of wooden crates, stacked and secured, can become a coffee table where morning tea tastes richer and conversations linger longer. Their imperfections tell stories, their edges softened by time, yet they hold space for new memories. Or perhaps a swing, a wooden plank tied with ropes to a tree. Nothing grand, yet the joy it carries is immeasurable. The sway of the seat, the sound of the ropes, the smile that rises unbidden as you sit, it all reminds you that beauty lies in experiences, not price tags. The essence of DIY furniture is freedom. You decide the size, the shape, the color. You can change it, repaint it, or rebuild it as seasons pass. What matters most is the bond you create with your space, shaping it with your own effort. In the end, these projects are more than furniture. They are invitations to pause, to gather, to breathe, and to live fully in the garden you call your own. There is a gentle poetry in giving forgotten objects a second chance. In the garden, these upcycled decorations don't just fill space, they breathe character into every corner. Each piece carries a whisper of its past, now woven into the story of your outdoor sanctuary. Picture a row of colorful glass bottles, once forgotten in storage, now standing proudly as a sparkling border for your flower bed. As sunlight passes through, they scatter small rainbows across the soil, playful and alive. What was once clutter has become a jewel in the garden's crown. Then imagine an old bicycle, too rusty to ride, leaning with quiet dignity against a fence. Its basket spills over with flowers, turning decay into abundance. The creak of its frame tells stories of journeys past, while the blooms announce the joy of new beginnings. It becomes a conversation between memory and growth. Even a simple ladder can find a second life. Standing tall, each step cradles pots of herbs and succulents, a vertical garden born from practicality. Its worn wood speaks of years of service, now continuing in a gentler, greener role. The shadows it casts shift with the sun, reminding you that beauty evolves with time. These creations are not about perfection or wealth. They are about seeing potential where others see waste, and about expressing yourself in ways no store-bought decoration ever could. When you upcycle, you build more than decor. You build a reflection of your creativity, your resourcefulness, and your care for the world. Step into such a garden, and you don't just see plants and objects. You see stories stitched together by your imagination. And that is what makes this space not just beautiful, but uniquely yours. Sometimes, it is not the grand designs, but the quiet accents that transform a garden. Small details, the kind that seem almost ordinary, can shift the mood of a space, weaving warmth and intimacy into every corner. These are the touches that make a garden feel less like a patch of land, and more like an extension of your soul. Imagine a weathered wooden chair tucked under a tree. Nothing fancy, nothing polished, yet with a hand-woven cushion, it suddenly becomes an invitation. A place where one can rest, sip a cup of tea, or simply watch the world breathe. The sunlight filtering through the leaves above paints shifting patterns, reminding us that beauty is often found in fleeting moments. Then picture a mason jar, once forgotten in the kitchen, now hanging gently from a branch, holding a candle. In daylight, it glimmers like glass jewelry. In the evening, it casts a glow that feels almost magical. This tiny accent turns an ordinary tree into a host of gentle light, giving your garden a whisper of wonder. And there is the bird bath, just a shallow stone bowl placed in the grass, yet alive with reflection and motion. Flowers gather around it like companions, and perhaps one day a bird will pause to drink, adding its own presence to your space. Suddenly, the garden doesn't just hold plants, but moments of connection with nature. Accent touches like these remind us that transformation does not always demand labor or expense. Sometimes, it only asks for intention, the willingness to see potential in the smallest gestures. In those little acts, a garden becomes more than soil and greenery. It becomes a place of comfort, light, and gentle poetry. A garden doesn't have to be wide to be abundant. In small spaces, the challenge becomes an opportunity to build upwards rather than outwards, to let plants climb and cascade, turning walls into living tapestries. This is the beauty of vertical gardens, where even the most limited corners bloom with life. Picture a simple wooden pallet, once used for storage, now leaning proudly against a wall. It slots cradle herbs and flowers, each one growing in harmony. The roughness of the wood softens under the gentle greens, and suddenly a blank wall becomes a thriving canvas. Or imagine a wire mesh hung like a frame, with terracotta pots suspended across it. The orange of the clay contrasts with the freshness of mint and the grace of trailing ferns, creating a pattern that feels alive and intentional. The air seems fresher, as though the wall itself has learned how to breathe. Even recycled bottles, once found for the trash, can find new purpose. Lined on a wooden frame, they hold rows of soil and seedlings, proof that creativity can turn waste into wonder. As the sun strikes the plastic, the plants inside glow with quiet resilience. Vertical gardens are more than just practical, they are deeply personal. They allow us to maximize space, to create beauty where once there was emptiness. Every plant nurtured on the wall becomes part of a living story, of resourcefulness, of growth, of care. And in this way, even the smallest balcony or narrow alley can bloom into something magical. It is a reminder that abundance is not measured in size, but in the willingness to see possibilities and to let life rise upwards. There is something enchanting about light in a garden. As the sun sets and shadows deepen, even the simplest glow can transform the space into a sanctuary. With DIY solar lighting, this magic is not only affordable but also sustainable, powered by the same sunlight that nourishes your plants by day. Imagine walking down a stone pathway as recycled glass jars, once ordinary kitchen containers, now glow like tiny beacons. Their light catches on the petals of nearby flowers, making the garden shimmer with quiet warmth. Each jar feels like a guardian, guiding your steps into evening. Or picture slender bamboo poles standing proudly along a fence, each one cradling a solar bulb. The natural texture of the bamboo blends seamlessly with the garden, while the subtle light adds a gentle rhythm to the night. It feels rustic and grounding, as though the earth itself has learned how to shine. Then there are lanterns, metal ones that may have grown rusty with time, now reborn with solar fairy lights. Hung among branches, they twinkle like stars caught in leaves, creating an atmosphere both whimsical and calm. It is a reminder that beauty does not always come from newness, but from reimagining what we already have. DIY solar lighting is more than decoration. It is an experience. It invites you to linger longer in the garden, to host conversations under the stars, to pause and reflect while bathed in a glow that asks for nothing but daylight in return. In every jar, pole, or lantern, there is a small act of care for your space, for the earth, and for the quiet joy of evenings spent close to nature. To care for a garden is also to care for the earth. An eco-friendly makeover is not about grand gestures, but about thoughtful choices, where every small action reduces waste and gives back to the soil. It is a way of aligning your garden with nature's rhythm, so beauty and responsibility grow side by side. Imagine a compost bin built from old pallets. At first, it is just scraps, vegetable peels, dried leaves, coffee grounds. Yet slowly, these ordinary remains turn into rich soil, full of life. It is a quiet miracle, proof that nothing truly goes to waste if we allow it to return to the earth. Picture a rainwater barrel standing near your flower beds, catching every drop that falls from the roof. Each liter saved becomes nourishment for plants on hot afternoons. What once ran away into drains now finds purpose in sustaining growth. The sound of rain becomes not just soothing, but useful. Or think of a small patch of soil covered with mulch, keeping moisture in and weeds away. Rows of vegetables rise from it. Tomatoes heavy with fruit, lettuce crisp and green. A simple reused plastic bottle becomes a watering can, reminding us that sustainability is often built on simplicity. These eco-friendly touches are not only budget-wise, they create a cycle of balance. They invite you to live closer to the earth, to see resources not as disposable but as precious. A makeover like this transforms a garden into more than a retreat. It becomes a living promise, a space where care for nature and care for ourselves grow hand in hand. Every garden has a soul, and often it is the pathways and layout that shape how we experience it. A well-planned path is more than a way to move. It is an invitation to slow down, to wander, and to notice the details along the journey. The beauty is that creating such spaces doesn't require wealth, only imagination and care. Imagine stepping into a garden where old flat stones and a scattering of gravel form a winding path. Each step feels deliberate, leading you through clusters of flowers that seem to greet you as you pass. The sunlight dances across the stones, reminding you that even the ground beneath your feet can carry charm. Or think of wooden slices cut from logs, each piece carrying rings of history. Arranged across fresh grass, they create stepping stones that feel rustic and playful. Walking across them is like moving through time, each circle a reminder of patience and growth. Then there are bricks, simple, inexpensive, even mismatched. When painted or placed with care, they outline a walkway that feels warm and welcoming. On either side, wildflowers spring up, softening the structure with natural abundance. Suddenly, the path becomes not just functional but alive. DIY layouts and pathways show us that transformation is possible without excess. They use what we already have, stones, wood, bricks, and turn them into guiding lines for the heart of the garden. Each design is unique, carrying the imprint of the hands that built it. In the end, a garden path is more than a route. It is a story of movement, a gentle reminder that every step we take in the garden is also a step closer to peace. There is something timeless about wood, especially when it carries the marks of age and use. Wooden pallets, often left forgotten in warehouses or backyards, hold within them the possibility of transformation. In the garden, they can be reborn into pieces that are not only practical but also warm and rustic, adding character without cost. Picture a pallet raised gently off the ground, its frame filled with soil and brimming with green leaves. Spinach, lettuce, or even small tomatoes grow freely, their freshness accentuated by the weathered wood that supports them. It is a bed both humble and generous, feeding both body and soul. Or imagine a pallet leaned vertically against a fence, each slat holding herbs that release their fragrance when touched. Basil, rosemary, parsley. Every step past it invites you to brush your fingers against the leaves and carry their scent with you. The rough texture of the wood makes the greenery stand out, as though nature and time have found a quiet harmony. Even as furniture, pallets carry a charm of simplicity. A table made from old boards, decorated with a single potted flower and a clay mug, feels more inviting than polished perfection. It whispers of afternoons spent in conversation, of tea shared under sunlight, of moments slowed down by choice. Rustic pallet designs remind us that beauty is not about expense, but about intention. To reuse, to repurpose, to give life again, these acts turn ordinary wood into a part of our story. And in doing so, the garden becomes not just a place of growth, but a reflection of gratitude for what we already have. When space is limited, the sky becomes the canvas. Hanging gardens are the art of letting beauty dangle gently in the air, turning what might have been empty space into pockets of life and charm. And the best part? Everyday items are often all you need. Imagine a row of tin cans, once discarded, now painted in joyful colors and hung along a balcony railing. They bloom with petunias and marigolds, the sunlight bouncing off the metal, transforming scraps into vibrant displays. Each can sway slightly in the breeze, like nature dancing with simplicity. Or picture woven baskets, once used for carrying fruit or laundry, now cradling green ivy and soft ferns. Suspended from a pergola beam, they cascade downward, blending rustic texture with delicate leaves. The air feels fresher here, as if the garden itself breathes more deeply. Even glass jars can find a new purpose. Tied with twine and hung from branches, they hold succulents nestled in soil and pebbles. When sunlight filters through the leaves above, the jars catch the glow, turning the garden into a gallery of quiet, natural lanterns. The charm of hanging gardens is not just their beauty, but their accessibility. They use vertical space, making even the smallest balcony or yard feel abundant. They remind us that gardening is not bound by ground or soil. It can rise, float, and surprise us from above. With each hanging planter, your garden gains a touch of whimsy, a softness that invites the eye to wander upward. And in this gentle act of repurposing, you discover that everyday items can carry extraordinary life, if only we give them the chance. Sometimes, all a garden needs is a splash of color to come alive. Painted pots are among the simplest, most joyful DIY projects, yet their impact can be transformative. They allow you to play with creativity, to bring your personality into the garden with just a brush and a little paint. Picture a row of terracotta pots, once plain and ordinary, now dressed in bold patterns of red, yellow, and turquoise. Each one not only cradles a plant, but also bursts with color, turning a garden wall into a lively gallery. As sunlight strikes the surface, the colors glow against the backdrop of greenery, making the plants feel even more alive. Or imagine a sunny afternoon, where hands, perhaps those of children, perhaps your own, are busy painting pots with floral motifs. Some strokes may be perfect, others playful, but together they tell a story of care and joy. Each pot becomes a memory sealed in paint, carrying both art and nature in one. Even a single large pot can stand as a statement piece. Painted white and adorned with mandala patterns in blue, it holds a fern that spreads gracefully at the garden's entrance. Guests pause as they pass, drawn not just to the plant, but to the handcrafted beauty that frames it. The charm of painted pots lies in their accessibility. With just inexpensive paints and a little time, you can give ordinary vessels a new identity. And unlike store-bought decor, these designs carry your signature, your imagination. In the end, painted pots are not only containers of plants, but of stories, of afternoons spent creating, of colors chosen from the heart, of joy that lingers every time you step into your garden. Stones and pebbles are among the simplest gifts of nature, yet when arranged with care, they become art. They hold a quiet strength, a permanence that balances the softness of leaves and flowers. In a garden, these humble elements can turn empty spaces into designs that feel timeless and serene. Imagine walking along a pathway where pebbles in white and black form waves that ripple beneath your feet. Each step becomes more than movement. It becomes an experience, as though the ground itself has learned how to tell stories in pattern. The sunlight gleams across the stones, creating a dance of light and shadow. Or picture a flower bed bordered by small rocks, arranged in a perfect circle. Within it, blooms rise in bright colors, framed by the sturdiness of stone. The contrast between fragile petals and firm rock is beautiful, a conversation between strength and delicacy. Even simple river stones, smooth and rounded, can find new life with a touch of paint. Scattered around pots or garden edges, their pastel shades bring whimsy to the earth. They become accents that invite the eye to linger, small surprises hidden among leaves. Working with stones requires no grand expense. only patience and imagination. Their shapes are already perfect, their textures shaped by time. All we do is place them with intention, letting them guide the rhythm of the garden. In the end, stone and pebble decorations remind us of balance. They root the garden, giving it structure, while also highlighting the fleeting beauty of plants. Together, they create harmony, a reminder that nature is both fragile and enduring, soft and strong, and always waiting to be seen. Shade is not only comfort, it is an embrace. In the garden, a pergola or simple shade transforms open space into a haven where moments can be savored slowly. And while grand structures may seem costly, with creativity and humble materials, even the simplest shade can feel luxurious. Picture a pergola crafted from old wooden beams, weathered yet sturdy, its frame softened by climbing vines. A piece of fabric hangs between the leaves, letting sunlight slip through in fragments. Underneath, the air feels cooler, calmer, as though the garden itself has offered you a seat in its heart. Or imagine bamboo poles standing tall, draped with sheets of colorful fabric stretched across them. The fabric dances in the breeze, painting the air with shadows of red, blue, and yellow. Beneath it, a couple of rustic chairs wait, inviting laughter, tea, or even a quiet afternoon nap. Simple materials, but rich in atmosphere. Even pallets can rise beyond their ordinary form. Fixed overhead as a roof frame, they welcome climbing bougainvillea that spills blossoms over the edges. The rough wood contrasts with the softness of petals, creating a space that feels at once rustic and romantic. Low-cost shade ideas are less about building perfection and more about crafting experiences. They remind us that beauty does not demand expensive architecture. It can be found in vines climbing slowly, in fabric billowing gently, in sunlight softened by care. In such spaces, the garden becomes not just a place to pass through, but a destination to linger. Shade gathers people, slows time, and allows the heart to rest. And when it is made with your own hands, it carries warmth far beyond what money can buy. Not every garden needs wide fields or sprawling lawns. Sometimes, the most charming retreats are hidden in the smallest spaces, a balcony no wider than a doorway, a patio tucked into the side of a house. With creativity and care, even these compact corners can bloom into sanctuaries. Picture a balcony with wooden floor panels, herbs growing in pots along the railing, and a single folding chair softened by a cushion. Morning sunlight spills across the space, turning it into a quiet nook where you can sip coffee and watch the city wake. Small, yet complete in its comfort. Or imagine a small patio corner transformed with crate shelves stacked to hold colorful flowers. A round table rests nearby, carrying a teacup, waiting for a moment of pause. Above, string lights hang loosely, ready to glow as evening arrives. What was once plain becomes alive with both charm and function. Even a narrow patio wall can become a vertical garden. Rows of greenery rise upwards, framed by a woven rug beneath and a rustic bench nearby. The textures of wood, fabric, and leaves mingle together, making the space feel welcoming. It is not about size. It is about intention, about shaping a space where you feel at peace. Compact gardens remind us that beauty does not ask for more space, but for more heart. With a few thoughtful touches, any balcony or patio can become a retreat, a place to breathe, to rest, and to reconnect with the simple joys of nature.